Yeah.
All right, we'll start the meeting. Funding applications, we'll start with South Dakota United States Bowling Jamboree.
Nice big mouthful for you, right?
Yeah,
We just go by USBC, it's a little bit easier. Thank you guys for having me here this afternoon. Of course, I'll answer any questions you got, but on Friday, June 9th, and then Saturday, June 10th, we'll be bringing our state USBC Jamboree here to Mitchell. We bring in a professional bowler. This year we're bringing in Carolyn Dorn-Ballard. I don't know if any of you are big bowlers and know who she is. But she's been on the pro tour for a lot of years and is extremely well known. So we're bringing her in. She'll be here Friday and Saturday for both days. Friday afternoon, we bring people in to the Village Bowl, and we'll be doing a little interactive opportunity for our bowlers in the state to come interact with Carolyn Dorn-Ballard on the lanes, do like instructions and you know, get some tips from a pro and that kind of stuff. And then Friday evening, we do a fundraising event. Again, it'll be at the Village Bowl, where we raise money for veterans and for breast cancer research. In between that afternoon session and the evening session, out at the Village Bowl, we're going to do a meal. The meal is something that we provide basically free of charge or for a goodwill donation if somebody wants to give a donation. But the part of your grant will be used to offset the cost of that meal on Friday night at the Village Bowl. Okay, a bunch of people will stay Friday night. We have what we call our USBC state meeting Saturday morning with our delegates. We bring in an individual from our national USBC association to come talk. We set up bowling rules. We find out the latest information about what's changing in the sport of bowling, and we share those with the delegates who can then bring it back to their bowling centers. Friday night, we're going to use some of this money to offset the cost of the hotel rooms for folks that are going to stay at the Comfort and at the Hampton Inn. I've been working with both those hotels to get that set up to reduce the cost for our attendees on Friday night. Saturday night after the Saturday morning after the business meeting, we have what we call our awards ceremony and luncheon. That is the time when all of our youth, women's, and then from our open championship and our senior tournaments, all the champions come in and receive their awards, and the youth get their scholarships at that. So we obviously want to reduce the cost so we can get the families there. You get the bowler plus mom and dad typically with the youth. The other bowlers usually bring their spouse and maybe their family depending on the situation. So we're trying to use some of your funds to offset the cost of that meal on the awards ceremony on Saturday. And then Saturday night, we have what we call our Hall of Fame banquet, where we will induct all of our new bowlers into our Hall of Fame. Usually we bring in about 100 people, 75 to 100 people for the banquet. Again, that is friends and families and the people that nominated the individual for the Hall of Fame. And again, we're just using your grant to help offset the cost of that meal. Saturday night runs fairly late with our Hall of Fame banquet, and folks are coming from all across the state. So again, Saturday night, we will have additional hotel rooms reserved. My understanding, through a whole bunch of text messages on Monday, we have completely used up our block at the Hampton, and I don't know about the Comfort yet. I haven't heard anything there, but we are completely full with our block at the Hampton, is my understanding, unless you tell me I'm wrong. But okay, yeah. So it's full. You still got room at the Comfort. So we're working on getting those filled up. So roughly Friday, I kind of skipped this out of my notes and I apologize. Friday, we're going to have somewhere between 100 and 150 people out at the Village Bowl between the two events. And then Saturday, we will have roughly about 150 to 200 people at the award ceremony Saturday noon. And we'll have about 30 to 40 people at the business meeting Saturday morning. So all told, I can't remember what I put on my application. I think 50 to 75 hotel nights probably between everything. And like I said, most of your grant will be used to offset the cost of our participants to come to Mitchell. If you read my application, my biggest thing is I want to promote the Village Bowl. They have stuck a ton of money into the Village Bowl over the last couple of years. We've never had the Jamboree in Mitchell. For those of you that were here a couple of years ago when I came to talk about the Women's Open Championship coming to Mitchell, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you then. You know, because of what they've invested in there, I'm making an effort to bring more bowling stuff to Mitchell. This is the first time the Jamboree's been here. It's the first time I had the opportunity as president of the South Dakota USBC to kind of make that decision. I'm in my second year here as president, so I'm bringing that to Mitchell. Aaron asked me beforehand. I would tell you that right now we probably are on about an every other year deal where we're going to be bringing events into Mitchell for bowling. Between men's championship, the women's, the youth, the seniors, we'll be trying to be bringing more tournaments to Mitchell as well. So I don't know if you guys have any specific questions for me. I think you got the flyers and stuff, and you got my application. If there's questions, I certainly would give it a shot.
Jeff, I'm assuming
Tim,
this is a floating event that it goes to a different city all the time.
It does. We try to rotate it around because it is a statewide deal, right? Last year we were in Pierre. The year before that we were in Rapid. I think I can say this year we avoid Sioux Falls. It's a little expensive, and it's been alternating between Pierre and Rapid, and so we ignored Brookings. We've been ignoring Mitchell. The Aberdeen lane isn't in such great condition, but so I want to, because our lanes are in good condition and the investment that's been made there, I want to bring people to town and show it off. So now the other thing I'll brag about, but I don't know if I can do it because I'm an employee, I love the Highland Conference Center too. So, you know, it's going to be a great opportunity for us to show off the Highland Conference Center for our bowlers as well. So, but yeah, that's probably a little biased since I work out there, but. Any other questions? Otherwise, I hit all my notes.
3 meals, lunch or Friday night?
Yeah, 3 total. 2 out at the Highland, 1 out at the Village Bowl. Yep. You had me there for a second because I'm like, I was only thinking 2, but yeah, there's 1 out the Village Bowl Friday night.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm sure we'll have donuts or cookies or something Saturday morning as well at the conference center. But we try to keep our costs pretty low, and that's what this grant's going to help us do. Any proceeds, so I should answer this too, any proceeds from this event then goes into our youth scholarship fund. So besides the fundraising, we do Friday night for veterans and breast cancer research. If we make anything off, we do silent auctions and stuff like that at the event Saturday at the conference center, where we try to raise scholarship money. So this will help us make it a little bit more profitable event and hopefully get a little more money for youth scholarships. So the way the youth, I don't know if you care, the way the youth scholarship, we don't actually give them cash until they go to school. So if a 10-year-old wins a scholarship, it goes into an account with their name on it, and it will stay there until they graduate high school. And I think they have 4 years after graduation to start secondary education, and that scholarship money sits there, so until that, so. All right.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Guys, take care.
Next, we'll go with Cody Denning with Beer and Gears Mountain Bike Race.
Well, thanks for having me. This is our second year with it then. So last year we had 45 total riders, and I think it was a great turnout for the first year, even though it rained on us, but it was a great event. Friday night we do pre-registration at Blarney's, so I think last year was a lot more of local peoples that pre-registered, maybe besides I'd say 15 came from out of state, from like Rapid and different places and sat at Blarney's and pre-registered and stuff like that. Then most everybody else showed up on Saturday morning and registered for the race. with volunteers and everything, we had about 100 people, yes, last year for the race, for volunteers and people watching the race and everything like that. It was a great turnout. So we're asking for $2,000. That helps with our timer, so we can have like a professional race and stuff like that. So other than that, I don't know, it was an awesome time. Just trying to promote what we have in Mitchell for mountain bike trails, because our bike club does so much to make the trails awesome, and I want to promote that we have these awesome trails around our lake and everything like that more and more, and try to get people more access, because there was a guy from Texas, that kid was went to college, and he didn't even know we had trails around the lake until he came in the bike shop. So just trying to promote that. He said if he was in town in June, he would have been there for the mountain bike race. So the biggest thing is just trying to promote what we have in Mitchell and get more people into town to ride bike and utilize our opportunities for what we have. So
Bike rentals.
we just picked it up this year for the first time. So we do have bike rentals. So if you want to do the race, we can get you on a mountain bike and go out and race it. But yeah, so it's simple. It's a lap system, 8-mile lap. I got a course lined out. I think we're going to do in reverse here, so it's going to be a little bit more technical. So we start at Sandy Beach, go to the boat dock, then come back and ride Sandy Beach and Camp Aurora, and it's an 8-mile lap system. So I got 1, 2, or 4 laps, depends on what class you want. There's citizen, intermediate, then your expert class. The expert's going to do the 4 laps. Then we give, with our, my wife sends out, tries to get money to help us with the event, and sponsorship letters and stuff. Then we give cash back to the top 3 in each class, between the citizen, the intermediate, and the beginner. And then we have women's and men's and youth divisions and stuff like that. So I think the guy that won it last year in the expert class did an hour and 40 minutes. That's 32 miles in an hour and 40 minutes, and I think he won $160. So then we gave like some coolers away and different things like that too. So
What time do you start?
9 in the morning, yeah. Early in the morning, so it's cooler, so we're not in the heat of the day, because last year we did it on rodeo weekend, because we had to get pushed back a little bit, but we're trying to do it a little earlier so we can get more people in town.
So how many total people did you add? And
Last year, we had 45 for the first year, so hopefully it doubles this year. Right now, as my wife told me before I left the shop, we had 25 registered riders. So what do we got, 90 days before the event? Not 90, like 60 days, not even. A month and a half, a little bit, because it's June 24th, so, yeah. So hopefully, we get about 80 riders this year. You know what I mean?
The timing system, only because, I'm asking because we had another group, or actually a couple groups that use money to rent a timing system.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that would be the same that you use that the marathon group would use, or the 5K? It's a infrared system, and they clip something on their body, or?
Yeah, it goes right on their number plate on the front, and it shows that every lap they make, that counts for it and stuff like that. So we use,
If that's
Everybody's using
usually a
it.
shared thing.
we use the same one Emily Hones uses with the triathlon. It's the same
do
person. Yeah, for that one day, and that's it, and it's $2,000. For her to come down, then we gotta pay for her night to stay overnight and everything like that too.
Do you know what costs for buying a timing system?
I have not looked into it at all.
Because the Kiwanis also use their money for that. It's the lion's share of the money they use.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know anything about that.
either do I, but it's all, then they post everything online and all that stuff, and you
Well,
can
yeah,
look it all
I
up.
just think the technology might work for all of them. I don't know.
If we could buy one, yeah. Who knows what the retail price on something like that would be? I have no idea. I've never looked into it, so I couldn't really tell you, but that's a good idea to look up.
And then when you clip it on there,
So you got,
people could ride off with it.
so mine are just temporary ones, so they stick on the back of your number plate, then mine are garbage when they're done. That's all it is.
The actual,
So it depends on what event you're doing. So if you're doing the triathlon, there's little chips you put on your ankle and stuff like that, so they keep track, and you gotta give them their chip back. Mine's a temporary one that just reads that how many laps you go through, and then they just get disposed afterwards. And that's it.
we appreciate you doing the event, I know.
Oh, I love
it. You do a good job.
It's a blast. Just hopefully, we don't have no hiccups with the trails and building the boat dock or anything like that, you know what I mean? Because that'd be the next thing, is I don't know when they're gonna start that project. Because that would take all my trail away from me over by,
I'm guessing not before June.
because that would take all my trail away from me over by the boat dock and stuff like that. Then what about Fire Steel? Are they doing anything I haven't talked to anybody. Because I remember last year they tore all the trees down, and I had to put a bunch of race tape up, so people knew how to go through there since
That
they.
was for core sampling up.
Yeah,
first,
yeah.
To see if we could fill it in or not. And it won't be any filling going on this year.
Okay, so that was the biggest thing. I had to go inside there and I had to put a bunch of race tape up so the racers knew where to go, because
Thank you.
when the trees got ripped down and all that stuff, so it really made it hard for the people to go through the trail and stuff like that, so. Other than that, the bike club maintains the trail, so, and we spent about a week before the race to maintain the trail and get it up like the right shape. We weed eated and blowed it all off and everything like that, so. It's a blast.
If they're not there Friday night to pick up their packet,
They can pick it up Saturday morning, and I hate to say it, most of my mountain bike riders are campers, are gonna stay at a campground. I hate to say that. We do have blocks, I think. I don't know if my wife got blocks at the hotel. Okay, I'm not for sure. Maybe it was the Comfort Inn or whatever. I don't know if she did or not, but she usually does all that stuff. But most of the mountain bike riders are campers. They'd rather stay in a campground and camp overnight and stuff than go to a hotel. I don't know why, but it just is.
well, I think the city
Well, I was
campground
gonna, yeah, the
pays
campground pays.
pit tax,
Yeah,
so pushing the like.
Yeah. so. But that's, the biggest thing is the funding goes to the timing machine, and that's it. Yeah, it's on the bottom, I think. Yeah. So, any other questions? We can get you guys all a bike and you guys can race it this year. You'll see how fun it is. So last year I had one guy, he was in his mid-60s, he needed one lap and it was like an hour and 20 minutes for him. So if you ride the trails on average, like I can do a lap in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? If I'm pushing myself real hard, I can do it in about 28 minutes.
What do they do if they're meeting each other on the trail?
So we do, you try to pass them in the right spots.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But otherwise, I do stagman starts, so like, the experts guys will start off first at 9, then I do 5 minutes later, then I'll send the intermediates, then 5 minutes later, I'll send the beginners. So we're not all we're gonna spread out a little
There's
bit.
not a lot of room on the trail.
No.
But you're all going the same direction.
Yeah.
You wouldn't meet, you might pass, but you wouldn't meet.
So there ain't no connecting parts on the trail. So I ride the paved trail, like that paved bike trail, and I ride the paved trail over to
Okay, so
Lions
they're not-
Park.
They're not meeting each other.
No, there's no head on. It's basically a lap, circle lap that's why I have to use the north side of the trails, because there ain't no connecting spots and stuff like that. If I use the south side of the trails, there's too many connecting spots where you wouldn't be able to pass each other and you'd be head-on collisions and stuff in a few spots. So if you're like going through the, what am I thinking of? You go through camp, like, the amphitheater. Like there's only one trail that goes through there, so you couldn't do it because you'd run into each other and stuff like that. So that's why I picked the north side of the lake.
Cody, and you said you do Camperita, Sandy Beach, and the boat dock. What boat dock?
West End, West Harmon.
Up on the,
So I'm starting at Sandy Beach, I'm going over to Lions Park into Fire Steel,
okay.
then across the road to the boat dock and around, then coming around the boat dock and riding all that edge along the boat dock, then coming all the way over around to Sandy Beach, Camp Aurora, then coming back down. So it's if you ride it right, it's 7.93 miles. But I just say 8 to make everybody make it a little easier, so.
Do you ever see a competition like this in the wintertime?
Fat bike race? No, I haven't. It'd be fun to set up, yeah. I haven't got that. No, because we actually have, the bike club actually has groomers, and they groom the trail in the winter and stuff like that. So that's a good idea. We could think about putting something like that on a fat bike race. We haven't got that far. This is only second year of it. You know what I mean? There's so many more options to it. I'm a fair weather rider, so I ride when it's nice and it's sunny and 70. So.
Well, thank you for doing it.
Yeah, no, but wintertime, there is one, they call it a 28 degrees blowout in Spearfish. They do a race that's like 50 miles on a fat bike. And you just, and it's like, it's run by Spearfish Canyon Lodge. They start there, the Canyon Lodge, and they go out and ride some 2 tracks and different mountain bike trails and stuff like that, so.
Winter race with fireworks at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is a good point to try to get more people in town in the winter months when it's slow. I'll have to talk to the wife and get her convinced, because she's the smart one of the group. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. Be honest about it.
Yeah.
So, any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, we'll go to the approval of the minutes from last meeting.
So moved?
Motion by Jocko, second by Doug.
No, they're not gonna-
Oh, did you second it?
You beat me.
Okay. We'll give it to Emily. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Motion passed. Financial report. Do we have any money?
Yeah, I'll give this a shot here.
I know we're getting low.
Okay, so we have a fund balance of $80,270.02.
Aaron, can you zoom that, this is little?
And then there is the last 8 checks that are committed will be cut Monday during city council. And that will bring our available balance to $16,690.02.
Do we recollect what our balance was last year at this time? Or that's not here?
So we were, as far as our funds available at this time,
If you can look at the year-to-date comparison, that last white column, and it shows you the collections through that time of the year.
so this would be total collection.
Yeah, total collections through April, but saying how much is available is really hard to say because it depends on how many things have been approved for that year and how
Right.
far in advance, so.
Bad question.
But we have 60-some thousand dedicated, just not written yet, right?
Yeah, 63,580.
But you do have to show those as coming out because if the bid is not renewed, you would still be obligated to fund those.
Okay.
And then total bid collections for, collected in April for March, we were $15,669.50. And for our totals for January, February, March, and April, there is one outstanding hotel yet to submit their collections to those amounts. So that would be a year-to-date total of $50,767. Just in comparison to where we were at for previous years, 2022, that would be down 3.9%, which I went, I guess, a little further. That's equivalent to $2,052.50, which equals 1,368 hotel rooms. Year-to-date for 2021, it happens to be the highest that we are up. We're up 16.4%, which would be $8,343.50. So in comparison to 2021, we're up over 5,000 hotel rooms. For comparison to 2020, 3.6%, 2019, 9.1%, and then comparison to 2018, 0.5%. What we got, so funding available, $16,690.02.
The fund balance looks low, but you guys, I was gone last month, you guys went crazy.
Meeting took an hour and a half.
Well, you gotta
2
remember,
hours.
2 hours.
some of those are not until October,
Yeah, well, I know,
and, which is a concern, because we got this money coming in with the summer, and you're awarding money that's not
yeah.
gonna be used till later. So we actually cut back on a couple.
No,
Our busier months are
I'm just
coming
kidding
up,
you,
though,
but-
so we should have more money coming in.
last, you almost made it back. Like a 2-hour meeting.
And I know based on previous months, I think April has been, April last year.
Big one.
We were the same. We just happened to get 8 funding applications submitted. Obviously, some of them are pre-planning, trying to get ahead of the game and see if they have, what they have for funding available. But just on past SEA meetings, as far as the number of funding applications, it's usually between, I guess, 0 and 4. April just has happened to be.
I guess that's what I'm getting at, is we may hit a couple months here where it's gonna be a little,
Yeah,
one or
like this
two,
one,
perhaps,
just
you know.
2 of them.
If they're like in October, like last time we had 8 of them, and people were leaving in the middle of, I mean, you know, it got 3:30, 4 o'clock before we got done, and they're that far out, can we push them back a month or so there's not so many of them?
And I guess that would have to be a decision, you know, you guys would want to make. I guess my take on it would be, you know, if an application or an organization submits the application, you know, their application 5 or 6 months in advance, you know, should they get, you know, the same, I guess, respect per se, and put on the next meeting's agenda to be able to determine if they have, you know, what they have for funding instead of.
Because by 3:30, I mean, we had people that had to get back to work and this and that.
But in that case, it was in their hands, because if we steer them toward a different month, we have no idea what's going to show up a different month. Because if
So it would just.
8 of them would show up this month, they'd be in the same boat. And we'd have a lighter budget.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have anybody come in on the Harley thing this summer? You know,
No.
that's not happening, so that's not something on the
The
horizon.
city.
No.
But the event is happening,
Okay.
but there won't be,
But nobody's gonna be asking for funding for this group today, right?
No, they won't be asking from this group.
That's kind of a big deal. Do that.
Okay, so we got to get a motion on it.
So move.
Motion by Tim,
second,
second by Doug, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Against, nay. Motion passed. Updates, evaluation forms.
Yeah, we have a handful here I can share with you guys. Jim Bridge submitted his Girls and Boys Hanson Classic. Just run through just a couple numbers. Total spectator attendance this is based on ticket sales. The total between the girls and boys was 3,532. I reached back out to him. He didn't have any information as far as if teams stayed or hotel and motel room usage for the two weekends. He was awarded $2,000. That I think goes, you know, towards the hospitality purposes of the event.
So 2,000 for the total 2 weeks? Okay, all right.
As far as a profit, so this is based on the Corn Palace rental and service form that each event gets, and this is based on ticket sales and facility rental. It would have been between the girls and the boys, just profit from those two would have been $22,675.10. So the girls would have had $89.81.60.
We noticed too, he doesn't have the SEA funds in there, so you could add those to it, right?
So we'd be 24,000, yep, for a total profit that expenses, hospitality, officials and workers, awards, recognition, scholarships, travel expenses, etc.
this is, and that's just specific to the Corn House on the ticketing, those last 2 sheets, Dave. So that's not something.
He didn't provide his exclusive.
Right, that's just something I provide him. He even have his, you know, the National Guard subs and the pop and then all the other stuff that they.
So he doesn't have.
It's not all of his expenses, you're saying?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, just
That's
the Corn
only
Palace.
the Corn Palace facility
So
expense.
he's got all the other.
So whatever he did for marketing, promotion, if he paid for, I guess, team
So-
travel or things like that.
If he makes a profit, does it just go to that school?
They give scholarships out to the other schools.
Don't they also divide the money up evenly to each school? Just, I mean, if it shows 13,000 and you divide that by 12 or
I
whatever.
don't know
it
if
is,
they do for him, but I know that
They
process
used
is
to do
there.
that. I don't know that they do that anymore.
I think every team gets a
They get
scholarship,
a
don't they?
scholarship.
Yeah, scholarship to each team, somebody from each team, but I don't think they pay the team. T-shirts and.
That might be worth asking that question, I don't know, but.
Doug, you don't have a clue how his attendance was compared to like a year earlier?
Oh, yeah, I always have that.
Pretty close?
It was up this year.
Up?
Yeah, well, our basketball numbers were up all year
Okay.
for, yeah. Other than Wesley, maybe they were just more flat, but the Colonels were certainly up, and the Classics were up, all the Classics were up.
All the, okay.
Yeah.
And he did provide sent us a thank you. Special thanks for being an excellent sponsor supporter of the annual Hanson Classic at the Corn Palace. Greatly value as well as appreciate your help in making the event a success. Next, John submitted the BW Culver's, the high school classic. Total attendance over 4,500. Hotel rooms, right around 20 hotel rooms for the weekend. They were awarded $2,000 as well to offset expenses, I think hospitality funds for that. Based on the financials that John submitted, $8,666, which being a fundraising event, just goes to their DW men's and women's basketball athletic fundraising fund to help enhance the experience for our student athletes. Next, another DW fundraiser, that was that indoor futsal classic tournament. 300 to 400 spectators for over the weekend. An approximate 50 hotel rooms, possible overlap just based on the QR code and then what he received for feedback from the coaches. They received $1,500 for awarded funds, and those funds were used to cover the refereeing expenses. I don't have this on there, but in comparison, so in 2022, last year, they used $3,423 for referee expenses. This year, they used $1,786.
He said it was about cut in half.
Plus team,
Over $1,600 saved, and again, a fundraising event, so the financials that Coach Reinhardt provided, a profit of $12,876, split between the men's and women's soccer teams. And lastly, Bartholomew Brothers, the trap shooting clinic. 400 or more spectator attendance combined for the three days of it. Jerry thought right between 50 to 60 hotel rooms for the weekend. They were awarded $1,735, and the financials that Jerry provided would have been a loss of $189.98. Those funds that SEA awarded, facility rental, the food for the meals each day, porta potty rental, flyers, postage.
They worked it out.
Yeah, they had,
Yeah, they had like 40 or 50 kids couldn't make it, because both I-90 and 29 were closed, if I remember right.
Yeah, he was out using the skid loader. Get stuff cleared up.
and they still had people coming.
And I guess I'll share, we did have Coach Reinhardt of DW Soccer submitted a survey, and I just want to highlight question 6. Are there any events that your organization would like to host but are currently unable to? He did respond yes, and an outdoor soccer tournament at the Pepsi-Cola Soccer Complex during the summer. And I actually have a meeting with him and Coach Hackery next Thursday to try to get, I guess, the idea or the vision that they have. It sounds like multiple youth divisions, and they want to try to get it ready for next summer. Multiple day one to utilize that.
Be nice to use it once in
that
a while.
complex.
Somebody's got to use
Push
it.
it
Yeah.
until July.
I think it'll be open.
Everything happens in June, and there's nothing on the weekends in July, except for the rodeo, but.
That's not happening
I
now.
know. Huh? I know.
And I guess the last two for some SEA banners, just displaying in each hockey rink for the Lucky Devils hockey tournament. And Stacy will be here. He wanted to, is adamant about being at our next SEA meeting to just go through the evaluation form with everybody. So that'll be on our June agenda.
Had your banners at the youth baseball tournament this weekend.
Yeah,
Did you set those up and take them down?
yeah.
Okay.
I think I had a little.
It was out there doing wow, this is pretty.
Yeah, we got them out there, and then I think there's a little learning curve that I had with,
Well, the one had a problem.
yeah, I put tape on the string, and by holding that from flying off, it causes it to spin around itself if there's wind. But yes, we had it up.
Yeah, they look good.
I think it lasted for most of the tournament, but yeah, when I got there about 7:30 Sunday night, it was.
The reason it was on the ground is I was gonna take, because I didn't know you were coming out to do it, but I couldn't pull the one stake out of the ground.
Yeah, it took me a little wiggle room to get it out.
And I showed up later at night and they were gone, so I assumed you did that.
Yeah.
If it was spinning, it probably got more attention. Good job.
Did it get, did it get ruined, or,
No,
Oh,
no,
well,
they just spin and they wrap around themselves, and
well, they can fly off that pole.
that's.
So there's a-
yeah,
there's a
that's why
little-
we had that tape.
Yeah, they actually make a hook with a bungee, you can touch the stake. We learned that our lesson too, that was too technical. We found them on the ditch.
Just a quick QR code update. We did redo to where the QR code looks like this. iPhones weren't having a great success rate for scanning it, so we did a new generator, and this seems to be working well with both Androids and iPhones. And I guess lastly, just heads up, I will be sending out, this will be the funding matrix email, probably next week. It'll include the whole Excel spreadsheets, and then a, I guess, walkthrough of kind of the intention and purpose behind it. I met with Jeff Smith one final time last week to kind of see if we were potentially on the right track as far as using it for a tool to kind of help determine funding award and amounts. So I figured send it out to you guys prior to the meeting, give you guys a little time just to look through it on your own time, and then in June, give or take, we don't get, 5 or 6 funding applications. I'll put it on the June agenda, and we'll discuss it, kind of preview it, and any questions that you guys have about it, and we'll see if that's potentially something we want to utilize and implement going forward.
Is this something that, well, obviously we would adopt it, but is this something that the council wants to see? Is that where the direction is coming from, or is it just?
This has just been an idea.
Yeah.
Jeff Smith just approached.
But it's not a directive like by July 1st you need.
No, this is just strictly Sports and Events Authority Committee. Again, I think just to try to be a little more consistent and no added work for you guys. All the numbers would be, the proposed numbers would be calculated and sent out with the packets. I tried to, let me bring up this. So when I send out the past grant amounts for each event, it's probably a smaller than you'd like for work to be able to see the wording, but this here is from that funding matrix. So it provides the month of the event, the colors. The green color will be explained in the email. This is each year that they've applied for the grant. The QR code, that would be the number of submissions and completions that they say they had for hotel rooms. The number of hotel rooms would be based strictly on them, what they submit on their evaluation form. Each year they apply for the grant and the amount they requested, and then what amount the grant was approved, and then again strictly from the evaluation form that they submit post-event, have them explain what the grant funds were used for, and then any profit or loss. This is just a small portion of it. Just wanted to kind of slowly acclimate the idea and vision that we had, and I'll send it out early next week, and if you guys would just probably take a little bit more than a few minutes, but take a half hour or so and just read the email and run through the Excel spreadsheet, and we'll hopefully touch base on it, at least in an upcoming meeting. I won't put it on a meeting when we have, you know, probably over 2 or 3 grant applications.
I don't know if this question is for new business or if we can do it now, but Tiffany, maybe you can help. But if there's an event that really doesn't provide overnight stays, but it's good for the community, does CDB have money that they could offer? If we could refer them to the CDB?
Yeah, we can see, because we do that like for Special Olympics, and I do have dates for that. They reached out a couple weeks ago with dates for 2024, but yeah, so we do have some, not a lot, but we do have some, that if somebody, depending on the event, we can help with that.
Okay.
And I guess just to piggyback a little bit off, so the funding matrix is put together based on hotel rooms sold for the event. So again, it's not, waste your guys' time today. The email will, explain it, but the core of this creation of the funding matrix is based on how many hotel rooms the event has submitted on their evaluation form and how many they, unfortunately, it can only be an estimation of the amount on their grant application.
Yeah, 'cause just like the DW futsal tournament, he said 60 rooms, but I know they had more than that.
And most, majority of them, they are followed up with either, I'll text them or send them another email just to confirm that 50, 32, 60 is, the entirety of the event.
I think I had one city that had at least 30 that weekend. Because they brought like 5 teams or 14,
Yep, and I think that's just going to be kind of a double-edged sword with hotel rooms, the unfortunateness, for an event trying to determine how many they sell.
All right,
Move
we're
in.
about the funding then?